Welcome to Adjusting Your Heart. I'm Doc AJ Chua. Last week, I announced that today is supposed to be part 2 of Forever Be Light. However, I'll defer that to the next episode because many have been deeply bothered and affected by the Ravi Zacarias scandal. Moreover, more and more people are being sexually harassed. The 3 main points I'd like to discuss in this video. 1. What is sexual harassment? 2. What can be done when one has been sexually harassed? And 3. How do we respond to the issue of Ravi Zacarias' sexual misconduct? My first point, what is sexual harassment? According to Merriam-Webster, sexual harassment refers to the uninvited and unwelcome verbal or physical behavior of a sexual nature, especially by a person in authority toward a subordinate, such as an employer towards an employee or a teacher towards a student. The perpetrators or victims can be a man or a woman. Examples will be they will make sexual comments about a person's body, tell sexual jokes or stories, send sexually or explicit photos, emails, texts. They would touch people unwarrantedly. They would use threats to gain sexual favor. For instance, a boss could tell subordinate, if you don't sleep with me or if you don't do this sexual favor towards me, I'm going to fire you or you're going to be demoted. Or sometimes they use a reward system, like a teacher telling a student, oh, if you sleep with me, I'll give you a higher grade. Or you let's say maybe for a coach, oh, you get to join the competition. So I hope that you guys would know that Republic Act 7877, we have the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995. And then there's the Me Too movement. This is founded by Tarana Burke in 2006. But it became prominent in 2017 when several high-profile actresses opened up about their experiences with sexual harassment in the film industry. Morgan Freeman was accused by 8 women of sexual harassment. Comedian Bill Cosby was convicted in 2018 of drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Constant at his home in 2004. Actually, 50 women accused him. And the film producer, Harvey Weinstein, he was sentenced to 23 years in prison for rape and sexual assault. His 23 accusers include actresses like Ashley Judd, Gwyneth Paltrow, Angelina Jolie, and Uma Thurman. GMA News reported on May 28, 2019 that the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act has been extended to include the Safe Spaces Law. This means that strangers, not necessarily a boss, a teacher, or coach, who whistles at you, makes sexual remarks, or touches you inappropriately can be punished by law. And it should be noted that it was said in the news that the implementation of this law has yet to be improved. Sexual assault, on the other hand, is characterized by sexual contact of any kind without consent of the victim. So this would include unwanted sexual touching, rape, or attempted rape. And Republic Act 8353 refers to the anti-rape law of 1997. So what can be done when one has been sexually harassed or assaulted? Ensure your safety. Run and get away as fast as you can. I'm speaking out of experience as I've been molested several times. Like for instance, there was one time I was inside the LRT. So it was so crowded and someone was touching me inappropriately. So I just have to move a little, but I cannot run. Now it's a good thing that the LRT have cars. The first 4 cars are reserved for women. So now I always go there, so I am protected. Or let's say, inside the Jeep, I've also experienced that. So if possible, I would change seat. But if I can't, I just go down, okay? And there was once, it's outside Masangkay Supermart. It's very near where I lived, so I don't dare make a scene lest the person got mobbed and then he might stalk and rape me out of revenge. So I just would quickly go away from these situations. But it will be different if it's a rape case. Of course, I hope it won't happen to you or any of your loved one. But these things we have to know. Let's say there's a sexual assault like rape. Run, but don't go home and don't take a bath. Call a trusted friend, and ask that friend to meet you in the hospital. That way, you will have your injuries treated and the nurse can be able to collect evidence of the sexual assault so that in case you want to file a report or you want to file a case, you would have the evidence. And tell someone you trust or someone in authority. But I've heard of sad stories in which the victim told me that they were not believed. Instead, they were reprimanded. Like the mom would get angry and said, "It's your fault. Now you're telling me your stepdad is molesting you or sexually assault. It's your fault." Or maybe it's the mom's new boyfriend or it's an uncle. So my friends, in case somebody comes to you and tell you that they have been sexually assaulted, give that person the benefit of the doubt, listen, and then investigate. But my friends, please be careful not to wrongly accuse someone. It would ruin one's reputation, even if you retract your statement. In case you're in doubt, like, did what he did to me, is that considered sexual harassment? Then you could ask a friend or even a counselor or the HR department. And in case it's really a sexual assault, then you can report it to the Human Resources Department. But you have to have proof. Show them the messages, the sexually explicit photos. You have to have proof. But be prepared for negative consequences. Like in the Ravi Zacarias scandal, one of the spa personnel reported what she felt to the supervisor. She said that, "I don't want to service Ravi anymore because he's asking for something more." You know what happened? She was fired. And then for the other one, the first woman who spoke out against Ravi was Lorianne Thompson. That was in 2017. So together with her husband, okay, they sued Ravi and they're asking for $5 million for damages. In return, Ravi countersued her and said, "No, you were the one who sent me unwanted nude photos in order to extort millions from me." To make the long story short, they had a settlement. The Ravi team agreed to pay $250,000 in return for NDA, non-disclosure agreement. And then please seek professional help to deal with the trauma. Because after a sexual assault, there will be trauma. Like you might be afraid of being alone, you feel unsafe, you're unable to relax, you feel depressed, you feel ashamed, you feel dirty, you blame yourself. Why did I go there? Why did it allow to happen? How come I did not fight back? There might be nightmares, flashbacks. And then you might find it hard to trust other people. On my end, I don't like anyone touching me, whether they're men or women. Another thing that would help is join a support group of sexual assault survivors. And nowadays, I shared my negative experiences to younger women so that they would also learn to protect themselves and it won't happen to them. And lastly, it's not going to be easy, but I'm telling you, it's a kind of healing process to eventually be able to forgive the perpetrators. It's releasing yourself. You can check out my video wherein I shared Joy Tanchis Mendoza's testimony in my video, Be Happy, Live Without Bitterness. So how can we protect ourselves from sexual harassment or assault? Here are some tips. Please don't stay out too late. Be wary of accepting drinks from strangers. Remember, there are date rape drugs. Don't get drunk. Learn self-defense. Be vigilant, but do not be paranoid. Do not think, oh, every man or every woman here is a sexual predator. Dress modestly so as not to attract unwanted attention. I know it seems unfair, but you know, I never wore seductive clothes, and yet I was molested several times. I was so afraid at that time that I didn't wear sleeveless for several years. And the last time I was about to be molested, I was even wearing a slacks. I was wearing a short sleeve polo. But it's a good thing I've learned to be vigilant. I was walking around Gandhar Street, that's around Sunday, 3 p.m. So I was walking and then there's a guy coming towards me. And I said, his stare is different. So I was already aware it's a good thing. Because when he was already very near me, he tried to touch my chest, my breast. Oh, it's a good thing I was aware. So I was able to slap his hand and I walked very fast. So my friends, be extra vigilant. But in case it's your boss who has that reputation of sexually harassing his employees, then whenever you're asked to go into his office, do not close the door. Leave the door slightly open. Don't work overtime, even if he requests you to do so. Only the two of you. You might, if you want, because you want to keep the job, you can ask a colleague to stay with you. At least you'll be safer, okay? And then, if he or she touches you inappropriately, then you tell him that you don't like that kind of touch and you're not comfortable. In case you think that telling the HR won't help because he's the boss, then for me it's better to just resign and look for another job elsewhere. So my last point, how do we respond to the issue of Ravi Zacarias' sexual misconduct? It is heartbreaking when we hear of Christian leaders like Ravi, Carlens of Hillsong, New York. These are the people we look up to, and then they committed sexual sins and they led double lives. I truly cannot imagine the shock, the pain, and the delusionment of Ravi Zacarias' family members, close friends, colleagues, disciples, and the followers. But my friends, please do not leave the Christian faith or the church just because of this. That's why we need to fix our eyes on Jesus, because only Jesus is perfect. And on my part, and what we can do is that we have to seek to have a closer walk with God and live godly lives. What these people did was wrong, and God would punish them. So let's continue to pray for our leaders, that our leaders won't fall into sexual temptation. Then we can also learn from his mistake. His life would serve as a warning for me and for all of us. It could happen to any of us. 1 Corinthians 10:12 says, if you think you are standing firm, be careful that you don't fall. Then it's also important that we have accountability partners. It's really lonely at the top. And that's what Ravi, Carl told the women that they've been with. They're lonely. And it would have been helpful if they have accountability partners, just like Reverend Billy Graham. I talked about that in my video, The World of the Married. He was able to have a scandal-free life until his death, and he has been married for, I think, 70 plus years. He never had a sexual or financial scandal because he had accountability partners. Partners who are willing to ask him the difficult questions like, have you ever been in love with another woman other than your wife? Have you ever been engaged in porn? Because he travels a lot. So we need people to check up on us. Building a very strong marriage is also very important. Ravi shouldn't have trouble that often, especially if he's leaving the wife behind. If he wants, maybe the wife would be accompanying him. Like my mentor, Elder Legion, he would call his wife every day in case his wife did not accompany him to the Philippines. And in setting healthy boundaries would also help. Like, please don't flirt. Don't engage in sexting, like sending suggestive or sexual texts or photos to other people. Investigators found more than 200 such photos in Ravi's phone. And these are from younger women from different countries. And on my part, of course, I trust my husband Hans, but one of his favorite place to go to, especially to de-stress, would be a spa. So I asked him, because what happened to Ravi, it also happened in a spa. So I said, but Hans would often invite me. It's just that it's not my cup of tea. So I would say, you just go alone. But he told me that the spa that he goes to, he doesn't get a private room. He goes to a public room wherein there are a lot of people present. Okay, so maybe that's a good suggestion to all of you who likes going to spa, and maybe asking for the same-sex masseuse. Okay, and also organizations should have guidelines to ensure that employees are protected and that justice will be served. The Ravi Zacarias International Ministry eventually gave a public statement apologizing to the victims. They apologized for not believing them in the first place and for not investigating the issue more thoroughly, and also for not keeping Ravi accountable. And then somebody asked me, what do I do with his books? I said, you can still keep his books because he has a brilliant mind. That God's truths will never change. It's just that it's so sad that it's because of his credibility. So let's say when it comes to issues of moral integrity, then I won't read books like that. But maybe on apologetics, I will still read. I hope that this video has provided you with insights on how to deal with sexual harassment or assault. And may God use each of us to make this world a better place. And here's some people that I'd like to thank: Ana Marie Ang Rillera, Dr. Chuing Tan, Ero Chua, Feli Uy, Fredelyn Lu Iwamoto, Fritzy Chan Webb, Genesis De Cousin, Grace Laitan, Grace Shen, Jacqueline C, Jameson Yu, Janet Cod, Jeannie Uy, Jenny Torchiva, Katie Lee, Lady Christine Pak, Marily Uy, Marlon Chai, Marso Jane Digital, Norvik Cheng, Philip Ligo, and Salvik Cavico. If you're blessed by this video, please like, subscribe, and share it to others. I'll talk about the top 3 to 5 needs of husbands and wives next episode. Stay safe!